Hi guys, welcome back to the At the Bar podcast with myself, Alex Parkinson, and Harry Morris. On today's podcast, it's just a short one. We're going to be talking about what our ideas are around success. Harry's going to lead us off, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents at the end. So enjoy the show. Harry, take it away.
Great. So we were discussing the idea of success sort of before launching this podcast, and I actually found it really difficult to define. So I don't know whether there's a point to be found in the fact that I can't define success very easily. I think the point is that it means different things to different people. I'm not sure whether there is a clear definition of success. I guess people look for success in career, family life, happiness, travel, that kind of thing. For me personally, I think the goalpost for success is always moving. I have goals and ideas that I want to achieve, but I don't know whether I'll actually feel like I've succeeded when I get there. One quote that really does resonate with me about success that I read is, "Success is getting up one more time than you fall down." So maybe that fits in with my idea of what success is. So you're always going to fail and you're always going to fall down. Perhaps success is just overcoming each time that happens. So that's my idea, and I think that's why I see it as such a fluid concept, that the goalpost is always moving. You might have an idea of, so for example, this year I wanted to launch my business. Last year I wanted to launch my business, and I've done that. So is that a success? Yeah, it was a success, but that doesn't mean that I have succeeded overall, especially just looking at it specifically for my business. I'm sure you feel the same about yours. You'll constantly find a new measure to a new idea or goal to measure your success against. So if the first one was to launch, the next one is to fill your diary, and once you filled your diary, it's to deliver a higher service. I think the goalpost is always moving, but overcoming the obstacles that you face each time is probably the closest to a definition of success I can find. But it is a very interesting one, a very personal idea. So let's get your opinion on that, Alex. I'm sure you'll have something good.
Well, I define success as enjoying the process. I feel really lucky. I enjoy my work. I enjoy my training. I enjoy finding ways to make food taste great. I enjoy making my own rules in life. I already feel successful, and I make things happen. I'm a doer, and I'm proud of that. But the reason I'm proud of that is that I haven't always been. When I came back from drama school, I fell into a trap of easy money in a job that I didn't really care about. I did absolutely nothing creative that I wanted to, and it wasn't until I got made redundant from that job at the time that I started to make things happen. I knew I needed to maintain some sort of semblance of routine, so I gave myself a time that I wanted to be up every day, and I gave myself a schedule for that day and gave myself things that I needed to achieve within that day. And ever since that's been the way. I don't do time off. I don't feel that I need it. Don't get me wrong. I still like holidays, and I want to travel and I want to get out there. But because I enjoy my work so much, I don't like when I've done like 16-hour days in the past. And people are like, "How do you do it?" I'm like, well, it doesn't feel like I don't feel like I'm working because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy working with people on a one-to-one basis. I get a creative kick out of developing my business. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been hard times along the way, but the fact that I've been able to come out of those hard times better, and I've learned from the failures that I've made, that fills me not only with confidence but with hope.
Yeah.
Hope that I can transfer those life skills to others going through tough times or creative frustration. And actually, I've fallen in love with failure because to me that signifies progress.
Yeah.
If things are constantly going my way, then okay, I'm doing things right and I've learned something, but I must have failed at some point to learn those things. And when I do fail, when something doesn't work out exactly how I want it to, it forces me into a corner where I've got to think about where next. And that is where success lies to me, is finding that that resolution to put what is perceived as failure. So failure, it's got such negative connotations around it. But actually, if you embrace failure as part of life, then you're actually going to make more of a success of your life.
I think that links really nicely to the quote that I just mentioned. It is kind of getting up one more time than you fall. So you're talking about finding the way out and a resolution. Maybe that's the concept behind success. Just constantly trying to come out the other side of things.
Resilience, yeah. I mean, think of all the people that you idolize, and I'm talking to you as the listener, not to Harry. Think about all the people that you idolize, and I guarantee you that part of the reason that you probably idolize them, whether you know it or not, is because they've been able to succeed through like hard times. To use an example, The Rock, everyone loves him, but there was a time where he had $7 to his name.
Yeah.
And has managed to build the career that he has. That's the reason that we idolize these people. Steve Jobs. I mean, all the the typical examples of people that got turned down by publishing companies or fired.
He got fired from his own company.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs. That's a setback.
But that's why we idolize these people, isn't it? Because their resilience and the way that they turn things on and come back.
Two more for me. Colonel Sanders. We all love Colonel Sanders, and we all love his chicken. But he got declined by 1,000 restaurants.
Yeah.
For his chicken recipe. And the other one is which I mentioned on a previous podcast, was Thomas Edison and the light bulb.
Yeah.
He worked out how not to create the light bulb. That was more of us thinking of a positive mindset, but he constantly overcame those setbacks. I'm sure he was disappointed when it didn't work, but eventually it worked.
And also one thing that I would really like to just drive home as well is that your goals and how you define success does not have to be career related. You can,
No.
usually
it's the opposite.
If your goals are to have a family and get married, and you're not really too fussed about what you do for a job, as long as it's sort of paying you enough money and you don't hate it, then that's cool. Like, do your thing. Don't feel that just because you're not driven by career aspirations, or maybe, to talk about this in the context of health and fitness, maybe actually you're not that bothered about how you look. You just want to feel fitter,
Be healthier.
and like that can be quite a general thing to feel, but you can then make specific things within that. And like, so for example, I might want to run a faster mile time, and once I've achieved that, okay, let's switch things up. I want to improve the height of my vertical jump. I don't know, whatever it is. There's always a way to give yourself purpose, and I think purpose is a key component of success.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned the link between success and failure. I think the two go hand in hand. We've already discussed that pretty much but what do you feel like there's quite a strong link between success and failure?
Yeah. I do, because I don't know of many people that have been successful first time round. Or without having to go through a huge defining process. And I think from failure comes success. Personally, like I think it goes back to actually something that we did talk about in that mindset podcast, which was how do you turn the worst things that happen into your life into the best things. You can apply that, and once you're capable of achieving those things, then to me, I'm talking about this from an opinion perspective. There's obviously individual ways of defining your own success, but for me, from an individual perspective, I view success as overcoming failure and finding love in the process.
So one final point I wanted to raise about success.
Go ahead, Harry.
Thanks, Alex. Very good, great points, Alex. Like this is definitely stuff. I'm sure as anyone who listened to the Mindset podcast, you'll have gathered Alex pays a lot of attention to these sorts of things. You do a lot of concentrated. You put a lot of concentrated effort into developing these ideas. And it's stuff that you transition into your business, into your clients as well. So excellent points. My final point to raise was actually something that I learned from a podcast the other week. and it was.
Wait a second, you listen to a podcast other than the At the Bar podcast?
Yeah, well, At the Bar pretty much covers everything that I need, but I drive around a little bit, so it's nice to put them on in the car. Anyone who does a bit of driving, feel free to listen to our podcast in the car as well. It's a good way to get in that extra knowledge and make use of that time. So, to continue, I was listening to Jordan Syatt's podcast, and we've mentioned him on the show before.
Who's Jordan Syatt?
Jordan Syatt is Gary Vaynerchuk's personal trainer.
Who's Gary Vaynerchuk?
Gary Vaynerchuk. You can answer that one.
Gary Vaynerchuk is the king of social media. You've
Yeah.
probably seen some edited video of him on your Facebook feed talking about doing things and being motivated.
Yeah, he covers a lot, really, doesn't he?
A lot.
He covers a lot. Yeah. So he basically was talking to one of his inner circle members, so somebody who he deals with as a client, and she said she had quite a big weight loss target, and she expected like a success moment, and she said, like, you know, confetti to sort of fall from the ceiling, Oprah Winfrey to kind of come out and go, well done, you did it, yeah, here's your prize. But I don't. She said that it never came, and I'd agree. I think sometimes people set these targets, and she actually achieved a weight loss target, so she did get there, but she didn't feel like she'd succeeded because she just moved the goalpost of what success was. She just pushed it further away. So she set herself a deadlift target. So she wants to deadlift 2 times body weight, and she got into the performance side of things while she was doing the weight loss. And now she's set loads of new targets, and there wasn't that defining moment of feeling like she'd got there. She just moved the goalpost. So I thought that was an interesting concept. The fact that you might feel like there's an end point and you'll feel like a success, but I think human nature, we're always striving towards something. I don't think people get complacent too easily. So I don't know your thoughts on that, Alex.
I'm huge on sort of personal growth, and I think the day you stop growing is the day you die. Like, it's the day that you stop becoming interesting. It's the day that you stop loving life. That, you know, I always think there are ways that we can become better, and, you know, again, doesn't have to be in an academic or career related way. Like, maybe you want to be a better husband, maybe you want to be a better daughter, I don't know, but I think those things are really important. And the thing that came to mind when you were saying that is, so because I haven't mentioned it enough, I do CrossFit, and
this is a CrossFit podcast, by the way.
yeah, just public service announcement there.
It's not a CrossFit podcast. It's not a CrossFit podcast.
No, it's purely CrossFit. Don't worry. You're in the right place. Anyway, the guy that won the CrossFit Games last year, his name's Matt Fraser, and they asked him. He's run it 2 years in a row, and he was on an awesome podcast called the My Muscle Project, and he was asked, you know, how he felt after he'd won it, and the answer was no different. All it did was affirm to him that all the training that he'd done worked, and that everything had paid off. He'd won the highest accolade within his sport, and, you know, it didn't ultimately. Yeah, you'd get that euphoria of, oh man, like I did it, like everything that I've done this past year actually worked. But that's the important part is that the process, and that goes back to the very first point that I made, which is loving the process. Mm-hmm. You know, there's some unsexy work out there that you have to do to reach your goals, but if you can learn to love that, then you'll never work a day in your life. Yeah,
maybe there's success in trying.
There is. Like, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I really believe that. You know, the second quality that this podcast is, second to a CrossFit podcast, is it's a quotes for life podcast. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. That one you can have for free, guys.
Quotes out, don't we?
We do, but it's because they're relevant, and, you know, there's purpose to the sort of things that you can live out through those quotes.
Yeah. So hopefully this episode has been a success. You define that for us.
That was cheesy, man. I like it.
Thanks. A nice little segue back into it.
How can people get in touch with us?
People can get in touch with us through our email. So it's the at the bar podcast.
Incorrect. It's the ATB podcast
at
gmail.com.
At Gmail. just testing you, Alex. The ATB podcast at gmail.com.
.co.uk.
Alternatively, you can get in touch with us via our Instagram, which is ATB Pod. Leave us a message on there, or our personalised Instagrams. Alex, yours is?
Rise Fitness UK.
And mine is HMPT Coaching. Have a great day.